check, see if this is on.
So I'm not going to tell them, but
Yeah, oh, I had that pulled.
yeah,
So
I'm
we
just
can
giving
vote
her
on
the
it.
correction, so I
Okay.
don't need to
Yeah.
call them.
Okay, good. Let me skip that then. So we got that taken care of?
Yeah.
That's fine, okay, good. TV guys, are we ready? We're ready? Okay, we can go. All right, would like to welcome everyone to the City Council Redevelopment Agency of the City of San Carlos for September 25th, 2005. 2006, that's right. Thank you, Bob. I don't know where I got lost in that year. Would you all please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just give one comment before we get started here. We are shy 2 council members. We do have a pretty brief agenda for this meeting, so we'll probably get through this fairly quickly. Staff, do we have any changes to the order of the agenda? What's there?
We have no changes.
No changes. Okay, thank you. And item 3 is council communications and announcements. Any announcements from either council member?
The only one that I would like to mention is I'm sure all of us received the letter regarding Betsy Schneider's reappointment to the Mosquito Abatement District, and I would just like to request that that be agendized at our next available council meeting, or as soon as it's convenient. And then also would like to have the council discuss whether or not it should be, in fact, an elected one of the council members serving in that seat, or whether or not we should continue to have a citizen sitting on that board. The ruling apparently has changed so that it's no longer considered a conflict, it seemed to me, and that is what the letter said. So we ought to just add that as a discussion point.
Okay, very good. I had the same thoughts, so good idea. Is that it? And Bob? Okay. I had a couple of things, mostly from correspondence I received. I did get an email from, and I've gotten a couple of these, but I happened to bring this one tonight. This is from a Corrine Kendrick, and she's talking about the amount of litter from cigarette butts and coffee cups and the like at the corner of San Carlos Avenue and Laurel Street. And I know I've talked to the city manager about this. This particular person is highlighting that corner where Starbucks is, but I've received other complaints about just the downtown in general along Laurel Street. And I wanted to find out tonight if the council would be interested in addressing that issue, looking at some possible ordinances or a program or something, maybe even multi-pronged, to look at ways we might clean up our downtown 6, 7, and 800 blocks of Laurel Street.
That's a good point. I don't know that we have discussion on it this evening, but I think what you're just looking is maybe for some direction.
Yeah.
I would like to actually refer that to potentially to the chamber to work with the local businesses to see if they might come up with some ways to do it rather than actually passing ordinances and things like that, and that it might be a little bit better to sort of have it self-policed, or if there needs to be a problem, to get the merchants and the retailers downtown as part of the solution in or designing a solution for the litter. I've been in other downtowns, and San Carlos, by contrast, actually does seem to be, for the most part, quite clean. So if there's some things that we can do from the city standpoint, like more frequent pickups of the trash cans or an additional trash can at that corner, I would suggest that maybe we do that, but I wouldn't be in favor of sort of anti-litter ordinances other than I think already probably exist within the state. Cheryl?
Sure.
Cheryl Pomerink with the San Carlos Chamber of Commerce. We do regularly in the retail reviews, which you all receive copies of, ask the merchants to please walk through the front door and see what their sidewalks look like, to pick up their papers, to clean up, police their particular areas, and to wash the sidewalks off regularly. We have no enforcement values, and I don't believe you should pass an ordinance. But I think it takes the city and the chamber working together to get something done, like power washing the streets, the sidewalks. We have had calls of complaints as well, and there are some merchants who are less active in cleaning up their areas than others. But I think it would be nice if we could find a way to hire someone to power wash the sidewalks. And we just need to do something to yell at the merchants a little bit more to get them to police their own areas. Mm-hmm. And it isn't universal. It's a few areas downtown.
Perhaps then what we could do is have a meeting with, I know Tom is very interested in downtown. He used to water the plants and so forth. So when he's back in town, Vice Mayor Davids and I can meet with you and Mark Weiss, and maybe we can talk some things out.
That would
way.
be wonderful.
Okay,
Great.
let's do that.
Okay.
Thank you. The other thing I wanted to highlight is speaking of the chamber, a notice went out for chamber members, but I thought I would go ahead and use this opportunity to help them out. They're looking for ambassadors for their for the chamber, for business ambassadors. And you can get in touch with Cheryl Pomerink, who was just up at the podium here, if you're interested in that. And then also they put out a notice that they're looking for carpenters and contractors and anyone who is handy with a hammer to help with the Santa's house, which needs some repair. So if you're interested in helping out with the Santa's house and repairing it, since Santa's in the North Pole and not here, if you could help out with that, that would be appreciated. And again, you could contact our Chamber of Commerce with your volunteer skills. And then lastly, I received a letter from a resident in town talking about their property tax bill as it relates to sewer fees. And Mr. Rubens, if you could help me out with this, this person's looking for direction on whether to pay that. I guess we have a hearing coming up on this issue, and so they're wondering what to do in the meantime.
Well, I might defer to the city manager on the timing of it, but the tax bill's not due till the 10th, so if there's of December, they're due. I guess they're due November 1st, but late after November 10th is probably the accurate way to describe it.
November 10th or December 10th?
Their December 10th is when they're late after December 10th.
Okay.
If the timelines on the protest hearing, I don't know when it runs, but if they can protest or apply to the county on using their processes, they before that 10th, they should avail themselves of it. But in my experience, that might not relieve them of their obligation to pay the tax on the 10th, because the appeal period generally takes longer than that. But it would be something that they could get a rebate from to avoid that penalty that it applies after the 10th.
Mr. Weiss, did you have a comment?
As the council will probably recall, we made the decision at the last meeting to defer the protest hearing until after the fire assessment, so as not to cause confusion, and therefore the actual protest hearing will not be until after the first of the year. That being the case, the property taxes are due, and what we will have to do is, if the property tax or if the protest hearing is such that the fees are not imposed, then we would have to work out a reimbursement to the people that had paid the fee. And so we would encourage people to pay their property taxes on time as is the normal course, and we'll take up that issue if the protest hearing should deem that is necessary.
Very good. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Okay. No other reports from council. Next is council appointments and presentations. And we're to consider reappointing Gordy Burton and Neil Chicozola to the Museum of San Carlos History Board of Directors to 2-year terms ending June 24th, 2008 and February 24th, 2007, respectively. Do we have any questions for staff on this item?
I just want to confirm that both have expressed an interest in being reappointed. I'm assuming that's the case, but,
Yes, actually, I've contacted them, and they both are interested.
okay.
And just out of curiosity, Mr. Weiss, does our ordinance on serving on commissions and so forth apply to this? It seems a little different, being that it's a San Carlos History Board of Directors.
I don't believe that it is one of the commissions listed that the ordinance would apply to, but I'd have to double check to be absolutely sure.
Okay. All right.
All right, I would move reappointment of Gordy Burton and Neil Chickazzola to the Museum of San Carlos History Board of Directors to 2-year terms ending June 24th and February 24th, 2007, respectively.
Second?
Okay, we've had a motion to the effect and a second. Roll call?
Councilmember Teagle Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Grisilli?
Yes.
Mayor Grocott?
Yes.
And I would just like to add, if they're watching or if they see this, that we certainly appreciate their time and commitment to the Board of Directors and willingness to serve. So thank you very much for stepping up to another 2-year term.
Thank you, Inga. Okay, we're now to item 6, which is public comment. And public comment, by the way, is for items not on the posted agenda and is limited to a maximum of 10 minutes and 2 minutes per speaker. And I have a card here from Cheryl Pomerick.
On behalf of the Pass Christian Katrina Relief Committee, we would like to say that this is the 1-year anniversary of the council's adopting Pass Christian as a sister city to whom we could address relief issues. And we've done some wonderful things on that committee, and the residents of San Carlos have been fabulous. So I'd like to just give you a report. I gave you a piece of paper that's wrong, because Barry Weiss brought in a sheet with some other things on it. And so in terms of donations and in-kind support and things that came outside of the citizens' donations, we have put together $94,432 in money and gift cards and other things that have been sent to Pass Christian. Mayor Grocott, who started the Mayor's Family Fun bicycle race, or not race, but event, was willing to make the first year pedaling for Pass, and we raised a separate $2,700 for that. Rotary Club just gathered $16,000, and 2 Rotarians took this down to Pass Christian in the last couple of weeks. Schools have been fabulous. They've donated books, teddy bears, beach bags for teens, and we've had drives for bath towels and all kinds of other things. So the committee is very grateful. At this point, the city has pretty much cleaned out all of the things that they have to clean out, and now they start rebuilding. And it's amazing that a year later, there is so much devastation still, and they are beginning to rebuild. And so what they have no place to put things, so they've taken down the great big tents and so forth. So we're not sending things anymore, but what we're sending is money, and they need that for building houses. They had to create a daycare center, and we sent $2,000 of the last amount that we collected to start the daycare center up again, because people can't begin rebuilding until they have a place to leave their children. So the town is starting to grow again, and our efforts are continuing. We took this on for the long haul, and we said to them, we'll stay by your side for 3 or 4 years, whatever it takes to get you back on your feet. Most of you know that we brought Lou and Wilma Rizzardi out for the Hometown Days. That was great, and we just have a wonderful friendship with them. We have sent 2 teams of volunteers down there. We hope to send another team of volunteers in January. So if anyone is interested in volunteering who's watching out there, we would love to have more people sign up to go down there. And we're looking to go down in January. The heat will be gone, and it will be a much better time to work and help rebuild. So thank you to all the citizens of San Carlos and everybody who has worked on this, who's been part of it. We're very grateful, and we feel that we've done a great job in the first year.
You have, indeed. Thank you, Cheryl.
Well, everyone has. It's not me. I'm just heading up the committee.
Yes.
Thank you.
Cheryl, if anybody has any questions? No? Okay. I have one question, and that is with the garage sale that we have going on.
Yes.
Are there any folks who are coordinating their efforts with?
I know the city clerk has asked people to consider donating some of their proceeds to Pass Christiane, and I think that's wonderful. And they can just send them to Christine Boland at City Hall, and then mark your check payable for Pass Christiane.
Very good.
But that's wonderful. I thought that was a great thing for the city to do.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, I see no other speaker cards for item 6. That'll move us on to approval of the consent calendar, which will approve all these items with one motion unless anyone would like to have something discussed separately. I don't see anybody wanting to discuss anything separately, so we'll consider all of these items 7A through I as one, and I think there's an ordinance in there that might need reading, the title of it.
Wanted to note for the record that there was a small typo in the minutes of the September 11th meeting, and I've given those to the city clerk, but I'm not going to pull them. She's just going to make the corrections.
Very good.
I would move approval of consent calendar items 7A through C, 7D, which is the adoption of ordinance number 1377, amending the San Carlos Municipal Code, Chapter 12.04, regarding sidewalk and driveway construction and repair. Consent calendar items 7E through I.
Second.
Okay, we've had a motion, a second. Roll call?
Councilmember Teagle Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Grisilli?
Yes.
Mayor Grocott?
Yes. Thank you very much. That brings us on to item 8A, new business, consideration of amending the San Carlos Municipal Code, Section 2.24, regarding commissions. I think Mr. Rubens is on.
Well, this came out of a meeting about a month ago to clarify the term of service limit, consecutive term of service limit that the city's practice has been over the past years and develop some clarifying language. So we've developed some clarifying language that you can see on attachment 1 that includes underline and strikeout. The underline's the new language and the strikeout is what's removed.
So it seems what we've done is, in addition to clarifying, is we've also made it, clear or perhaps even changed it so that if you're serving, we have certain occasions, for instance, with BPAC, where we take someone from Parks and Rec and we ask them to serve on BPAC as well. So if they're serving on 2 commissions, they're not accruing time in a double fashion. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have any questions for staff here?
I would move introduction of ordinance number
1 second. 1377.
An ordinance of the City of San Carlos modifying the San Carlos City Code, Chapter 2.24.060, length of service recommissions in senior advisory boards.
Through the chair, I would second, except for the fact that, didn't we just approve 1377 on
I'm
D,
sorry.
7D?
It's the next in order, so it's 1378.
Thank you, Bob. I modify my motion to reflect it 1378.
And I would second that motion.
You're right on top of things, Bob.
Hey, that's,
That's why we have them here.
Councilmember
Okay.
Teagle Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Grisilli?
yes.
Mayor Grocott?
Yes. Okay, that moves us on to item 8B, also new business, consideration of resolution supporting the San Carlos assessment for fire services. I believe we have the fire chief here and the city manager.
Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council, this is the council's opportunity to speak to and endorse, if you so choose, the fire assessment district that has been proposed within the City of San Carlos. As you know, the City of San Carlos has been working with the City of Belmont to reconstitute South County Fire into the new Belmont San Carlos Fire Department. We've been working in conjunction with the City of Belmont, the Fire Protection District in the City of Belmont, in an effort to reconfigure, restate the Joint Powers Agreement, and to work up a new budget for continuation of the provision of fire services on a local basis here within those 2 cities. We've itemized some in the staff report in general terms what would be funded by the proposed assessment district if it were to pass, and the fire chief is here to get into that in a bit more detail.
Okay, thank you. Chief Frack?
Members of the council, just quickly for purposes, there's 4 major items that we're looking for in regards to San Carlos. And in San Carlos, we're looking for ladder truck and engine services, a cross-staffing type of plan that we've addressed. Firefighting personnel is part of the costs, replacement of vehicles and equipment. And finally, the last thing, which is a JPA revenue adjustment for the city's share of the fire suppression services. As you're aware, with the change, it will go to a 53% cost for San Carlos and 47% cost for Belmont Fire Protection District. And I'm certainly available to answer any questions. Also, additionally, the final flyer has gone to press and is now in the mail, and residents should be receiving, as well as businesses and apartment owners. This goes to everyone. The final
these right
flyer.
Something like this?
The second batch of that one. There's another one that went out,
Okay.
and so we should be seeing that arriving the next day or two here in town.
Okay, thank you. Any questions? None? I do have a speaker card on this before you jump to that. Cheryl Pomerick?
I just wanted to report that at its last Board of Directors meeting, the San Carlos Chamber of Commerce voted to endorse the Fire Assessment District ballot measure, and they did have some reservations about the larger burden to the business community, but they did have an endorsement. So,
Thank you very much, Cheryl.
I would like to make a motion then that the City Council adopt a resolution supporting the San Carlos Assessment District for fire services. And if I could editorialize for a second, it's not a matter of the amount of time and work that's gone into this, which of course has been immense on all sides from the City of Belmont and ourselves, and also the hardworking men and women of our fire department who have completely stepped up to participate in this situation. We have a new chief, Chief Fry, and every man and woman in this department has stepped up to help. And I think it's a great opportunity for our city to show that we can have a top flight fire department, keep up our top flight fire department, and hopefully in the future make sure that we cover all the costs that, as Chief Fry mentioned, and have basic reserves that we can have so that we don't have to worry about whether we're going to have good fire service or not in the future. So anyway, I would make the motion that we adopt a resolution supporting the San Carlos Assessment District for fire services.
Is there a resolution number, Christine?
Yes, there is.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Councilwoman Doherty.
2006-60.
2006-60.
I would second the motion and echo Councilmember Grisilli's thoughts. There has been a tremendous amount of effort and collaborative work put together between San Carlos Belmont and the firefighters themselves to try to make this work. And so I applaud all of those efforts, and I sincerely hope that this moves forward and is supported in kind by the voters.
Okay, we've had a motion by Councilmember Grisilli, a second by Councilmember Doherty. Roll call?
Councilmember Grisilli?
Yes.
Councilmember Teagle Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Grocott?
Yes. And I think we have probably achieved a record, so write down the date and the time, because that was our last agenda item, and we are, I believe, adjourned. Thank you very much.